Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And since a lot of people are just getting into summer break around now, I decided that the perfect movie to review would be the 1992 film Tiny Toon Adventures: How I Spent My Vacation. Here is your trivia question for today. When Plucky and Hampton finally get to Happy World Land, they only end up riding the Tooth Fairy. Can you name at least two of the other rides that they didn't get to go on? The answers will be at the end of this episode. So, in this full length adventure, all of the students from Acme University are getting ready to go off on their summer vacation. So, Buster and Babs get into a water gun fight, which keeps escalating until eventually they cause a tidal wave, which washes them downriver to their next adventure. Luckily, they have Byron the dog with them, but all throughout their adventure, they keep running into hillbillies, southern families, and people aboard a riverboat that all seem to want to eat them. So, will Buster, Babs, and Byron ever make it back to Acme Acres? Then we have Hampton and Plucky, who are traveling with Hampton's family to go to the greatest place on earth, Happy World Land. Fifi is spending her summer vacation chasing after a star that she's fallen in love with named Johnny Pugh. Foulmouth is desperately trying to get a date with Shirley. And Elmira is traveling to a drive-through wildlife safari, because that'll go well. So hopefully the whole gang enjoys their summer and is ready to come back for school in the fall. So did you happen to know that Tiny Toon Adventures: How I Spent My Vacation was actually the first full-length animated feature to be released on direct-to-video in the United States? It took until about 1994 for direct-to-video to become more popular, with the release of Return of Jafar and The Land Before Time 2: The Great Valley Adventure. When the movie finally aired on television, it was split up into 4 episodes. Due to the fact that Steven Spielberg produced Tiny Toon Adventures, there was of course a reference to one of his films, as when Hampton tries to pry Plucky off of his leg, he uses a Jaws of Life, which of course is a reference to the film Jaws. Another film reference is when Buster and Babs are falling over the waterfall. They actually say to each other, "I've got you, but who's got you?" These are both lines that Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder actually used in the film Superman. And of course, to really hit the nail on the head, they actually have Superman come in and save the two of them at that moment. There's also a reference with the Thud Sound Systems, a division of Mucus Film, which of course is a parody of Lucasfilm's THX, which has the tagline of "The audience is listening." But no matter what, I will always and only remember the line from this film, "The audience is now deaf," which I still quote to this day. The crazy hitchhiker in the film is supposed to be a combination of Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th series, and John Ryder from The Hitcher. The movie that Foulmouth and Shirley go to see in the theater is Skunknophobia, which is definitely supposed to be a parody of the 1990 film Arachnophobia. So if you look carefully at Buster's locker, you can see a picture of Rover the dinosaur from the Tiny Toon Adventures episode Rock and Roar. The animal park that Elmira and her family goes to is supposed to be a spoof of Six Flags Wild Safari Animal Park. Montana Max is the only primary speaking character from the television series that has no lines in this movie. This film is one of the last Tiny Toon Adventures appearances of the character of Ralph the security guard before he became a permanent member of the Animaniacs. This film would mark the first time that the Roadrunner would ever get run over by a car. If you didn't already know about this, the voices of Hampton's parents, Wade and Winnie Pig, are voiced by Jonathan Winters and Edie McClurg. The voice of Big Daddy Boo is voiced by Sorrel Brook, and this unfortunately would be his last film. So I don't know how many other people are with me on this, but I definitely feel there's a Mandela effect when it comes to this film, because I clearly remember the title of this movie being Tiny Toon Adventures: How I Spent My Summer Vacation. But I have not been able to find something with that title anywhere on the internet. So when it comes to the film Tiny Toon Adventures: How I Spent My Vacation, I definitely enjoy this movie. It brings back so much nostalgia for me, and in general, I do think the story itself is still really good. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. And if you did enjoy this film, other movies I recommend checking out are Animaniacs, Wacko's Wish, A Goofy Movie, DuckTales the Movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp, and Daffy Duck's movie, Fantastic Island. And now for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. When Plucky and Hampton finally get to Happy World Land, they only end up riding the Tooth Fairy. Can you name at least two of the other rides they didn't get to go on? So once they get to Happy World Land, Plucky, Hampton, and Hampton's family all get aboard the Tooth Fairy, which shows the entire park. And here are all the rides that they see: Happy Go Pukey, Happy Feet, the Gargle, the Happy Crasher, the Happy Centrifuge, Slap Happy, the Stairway to Heaven, and the Bullet Train to Heck. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.